All right, we're back for the last best of 3 of the day. I'm happy and sad at the same time, Caldor. I don't want this day to ever end. We've had 2 amazing matches, including Yu-Gi-Oh! Taking out Marine King Prime in long macro games.
That was really great series. I enjoyed this so much. Yu-Gi-Oh! Advances to Code S while Marine King has to fight his way through the up and downs. Not going to be an easy task, but I'm sure that he will be able to pull it off. I'd be really surprised to see him dropping to Code A completely.
Yeah, Marine King's going to be fine. He's going to be in Code S next season. I know it. I can't wait. Yeah. Up and down matches are next week?
Yep.
Yeah, so I'll be excited to watch that. Be sitting at home in my underwear, having a beer, watching you cast that stuff.
You had to do that. The entire time.
How do you watch StarCraft? Look, even if I came to the studio to watch it, I'd have to take my pants off. I just can't watch StarCraft any other way. Pants are too refined.
Dude, pictures in my head.
I have stylish underwear, man. Don't worry about it.
Next week, we'll be like, Color, what's wrong with you? Why don't you say anything? I'm like, oh, I'm actually just picturing.
I'm going to text you during it. I'm going to like tweet at you. And
yeah, thank you so much for the reminder.
All right.
You're such a friend.
I try to be.
Hey,
you know?
Calder, I'm sitting here without pants.
I have no pants on. And like after a good game, like the shirt came off, dude. I had to do it. I was getting all hot and bothered watching that TVZ, man. All right, so this match, Ghost King Prime, he's changed his ID 4 times now. He started as Bleach, then he went to Excrement, then he went to Byun, and both of which mean poop, by the way. But Byun is actually his name. And then he went to Ghost King when he joined Prime.
What? Byun means poop, and it's his name?
Korean. Yeah, well, it means more than one thing.
Why would you name your...
That's why he named himself Excrement. He went to Nex, so he went Nex Excrement, Nexcrement, or whatever. It was like kind of clever play on words.
Really hate them.
It's his family name.
It's a family name, okay. So the whole family name is
it doesn't just mean poop, man. Like Korean words can mean more than one thing.
I guess kids at school really made a lot of fun of it.
I don't know. That would be pretty rough for everyone with that last name, wouldn't it be?
It probably is.
Well, I guess, you know, like a guy with the last name Mud or something. Because that's the guy that... Never mind, I'm not going to get into that history lesson. Let's introduce the players, Caldor, before we really...
I'm a little bit sidetracked here. We are on dual side, as you can see, in our last match of the day in a Terran versus Terran with a mirror match. And here we have our Prime player. Can he achieve what a Marine King could not? It is...
Ghost King Prime.
Ghost King Prime, aka Byun. And to the left we have his opponent. In the blue color it is...
The STC.
It sounds a lot different than OGSD STC.
Yeah,
I always pictured him just putting his hand on the keyboard and just rolling across it in order to get this nickname. Doesn't really work out, but it's just like OGSD STC, IMLG, MVP,
yeah. There's too many names like that.
It just sounds like random numbers.
But speaking of too many names, man, Ghost King, I got a real problem with this guy and how many times he switches his name.
I think we should actually rebel here and just call him Byun.
You want to call him Byun? I'll do it. I'll do it.
You good?
Let's do it.
Okay.
Forget it, man. Byun. Sorry, Byun. You only get so many name changes, man.
Exactly.
This is like BattleNet. You can only change your name so many times.
Blizzard allows 1 name change, Caldonatosis, give you 3, but that's it.
Look at, man, I put up with it when you went from Bleach to Excrement, and then I was actually happy when you switched it Byun. I'm like, all right, that last one was like hard to cast with. It was like bad ID. But now you've taken a terrible ID, Ghost King. He's like playing off Marine King. He's like, well, Marine King's my friend. I'm really good with Ghosts. Are you? I don't even know, man, because you haven't been in the leagues lately. But I mean, all right. Anyways, back to Byun. He's actually a very good Terran. He's shown a lot of skill in the past.
Yeah.
Recently hasn't been as good, but his matches in Code A, didn't he play Nada than Tree?
Yeah, exactly. He played Nada, then he played Tree, and he 2-0'd both of them.
So, I mean, that's pretty strong. Those are both Terran players. Tree's really coming up strong right now. Everywhere I see him, he's playing pretty well, so...
I actually watched some of Tree's games when he won the Code A qualifier, and he must have been really bummed out that he played against Byun in the first round. So that was really a little bit upsetting. But actually, the second round, sorry. Yeah, but on the other hand, we have STC, who just comes from a 2-0 loss against Tasia in Code S.
And you know what? The STC, he had a really hard group. And in fact, the first group he had was really hard as well. But he's really good. He's such a solid Terran, and he uses his brain a lot, which is really cool to see. He'll freestyle when he sees that something's a little bit weird, but at the same time has very good mechanics. So just a very solid Terran player. I don't know who's going to take this. Even though the STC has done better result-wise recently, you can't really count out Beyond.
Yeah, definitely not. He played amazing games. I actually had one series that he played on an online tournament just before he started with the last Code A game, and I was so disappointed because I was kind of hyping him up in the tournament, and he played so bad. I was like, what is happening? This is not the Beyond that I observed in Castle the last few weeks. I was really worried for him, and then when he played in the GSL, he just completely demolished his opponent again. I was like, okay, that's what I'm talking about.
You know, I don't know if you recall, but going into the GSTL finals, there was an interview by Marine King, and he called Beyond one of the best 3 on Prime. And Prime has great players like, for instance, he didn't name, there was someone really good on his team. Was it Creator? I think he named Ghost King, maybe Maru and someone else. But anyways, point of the matter is, Marine King thinks very highly of Beyond. So that's going to work in his favor. Obviously, he's very good. Marine King thinks he's good.
Well, in the game right now, we have a few Marines moving out for Ghost King, who decided to go for Reactor Factory Hellions, and we have the starport for his opponent. A little bit more of aggression here by Beyond. 24 to 23 harvesters. They're even in economy. We had very similar build orders up to the point where he went for the factory tech. Takes down another SV, and look at that. Forces a cancel of the command center, whereas Ghost King does not have a second base.
Yeah. You know, right now, Ghost King does have the medevac, but Reactor Hellions on top of a ramp, he should be able to hold on to this pretty easily. And he's also making a Viking, which is smart. It does well against a medevac, obviously, but you can land it, and especially when you're behind a wall, just demolish Hellions.
He cannot really charge up this ramp, but he needs to be careful that the supply depots are not dying. And the medevac is obviously key here as he grants vision onto the high ground, and now he could actually just try to attempt to get in there.
Well, 6 Hellions up on that high ground, and of course the medevac he has to be super careful with right now with that Viking out.
Problem is attacking the choke point with the Marines. That's the point where it gets really scary for Ghost King, but he does a ton of damage here.
Yeah, nice micro by Ghost King here. Really doing a lot of damage despite having that low ground, just really spreading everything out. It looks like he has lost the medevac, and now the Viking does land, but that'll make Ghost King land his Viking as well.
Look at Ghost King here. He's taking apart these SCVs. He's taking such a lead in this army. I don't think that STC can actually contest this.
Yeah, it looks like this is going to be very hard to actually break through, but he is repairing his Viking, which is really kicking some ass here.
Yeah, but do you think that's going to be enough? The reinforcements just streaming in. A second base nearly done for Ghost King.
Yeah,
he's adding additional barracks, and he did so much damage already.
The STC in a lot of trouble here as he does push up once again. Another Viking does come out and land, but is it actually enough? It looks like it is to hold off, but how much has he lost? He's lost 11 SCVs.
That's a big one right here. We have 2,000 resource loss against 1,600, but the key is that he lost also add-ons, he lost a bit of tech, he lost he lost a ton of gas. The only key thing that Ghost King lost is minerals. Well, the one medevac went down, but that's about it.
And, you know, one thing we do have to say, though, for the STC, he already has his command center, whereas the Orbital is making for Ghost King right now. Now, how quickly can he actually come down his ramp and claim that natural? That's going to be pretty important.
He's getting Marauders now. Those Marauders will help him quite a bit against these Hellions. And we have the Vikings in assault mode. He really wants to get this Orbital onto low ground, and he needs to, as his opponent already has a mining second base and is producing additional SCVs now. How many do we actually have? 35 to 31. Pretty even in the SCV count.
And the STC is actually going for mech, which, I mean, if you're behind and you try to go Marine Tank against Marine Tank, you're just going to lose. Your opponent's going to have more. He's going to be able to take bases, defend, do everything because, well, he's ahead and you're both making the exact same units. But if you go mech, then you're going to get a big defender's advantage. So if your opponent missteps, then that's one easy way to try to come back. So I really love this choice by the STC.
We have now Stim coming up for Ghost King, who still sticks with his composition. We go from Marines and tanks. And with the medivacs that he had, if he actually is able to get a nice... If he just is able to get one medivac in there, one medivac into the mineral line, this could hurt the STC so much.
Yeah.
He's just getting Blue Flame now, established the base on the high ground, but oh, the two Vikings are already en route, patrolling here and trying to get a glimpse of a potential medivac play.
Yeah, you know, that's smart. He's got to keep those Vikings out, because as you said, if there's one good drop, then it could all be over. I mean, Ghost King just needs to get a little bit further ahead, to the point where it's going to be ridiculously hard, even with a mech composition, to come back. So we're going to have to see how well he can actually do this. Now, as far as Ghost King goes, all right, yeah, he does have 2 Tech Lab add-ons, so that's important. He's going to have to mix Marauders in. If he stayed just Marine Tank, obviously that's not doable against mech. Too many Marines and the Hellions will just melt everything.
He is ahead, and well, he could just get a 3rd base as well, at least the command center.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing that, to be honest.
So an additional mule never hurts, and then he can get the 3rd base a little bit later on. He's already ahead. He has the minerals to do it, but he's getting the tank upgrade. There it is.
Yeah.
Command center being built.
Caldor asks, and he does receive that command center being made. In the meantime, I'm wondering what the STC is going to do, because it's almost time for him to make another command center, not to expand, but to make it. And if he doesn't, then he might be pointing out that he's going for some sort of counter timing, saying, oh, I'm a little bit behind from the early game. You know, maybe I want to go ahead and do some sort of mech timing attack, which can be strong, but he's only on 3 facts, so that makes me a little bit cautious about wanting to see that.
With a pretty nice catch in the middle of the map with a few Hellions being demolished by the army of the STC. He's still of Ghost King. He still has the Zanaga watchtowers, and therefore the control over the map is now sieging forward, and he has siege mode, and ASTC does not have siege mode just yet.
He needs to be able to siege up. I mean, if Ghost King gets a little bit closer to those siege tanks to hitting the gas or so, I mean, that's going to be ridiculous for the STC to stop.
Oh, does he realize it? Is he moving in? He's not. He's still trying to bait him. He knows there's no siege mode at this point. Only a few seconds left, though. And there he is.
Perfectly done. And looks like he will defend this off. Ooh, big volley on that army. A lot of damage being done. And Ghost King going to have to back up.
Yeah, he's backing up right now at the same time. Obviously, the 3rd orbital is ready. Still a little bit of supply lead for Ghost King. 134 against 123 to the top right. The Hellions not doing any damage at all. Running him straight into the reinforcement.
Yeah, those Hellions not doing anything yet, but the Hellions... Ooh, I like that, man. He has these 2 Marauders that don't really mean anything. Nice snipe there. But we still don't see another command center for the STC, so...
That's going to be a problem.
Yeah, it looks... He's even producing Marines out of his barracks. It looks like he just wants to hit some sort of timing attack. Little does he know that he could actually make a command center right now, and the game is not as far away as he thought it was. Ghost King has not actually taken his 30, he's just doing so now, and the siege chain count of the STC is so healthy that he basically can't die. But if he attacks, he can.
Here comes the attack by the STC. The Marines sniping a few units here.
Ooh, nailing a medevac. And, you know, if you kill the medevacs...
6 hit points.
And, you know, the one thing really going for the STC right now, aside from having a nice mech composition, is he has all the air control. And, ooh, takes out that siege tank. Well done.
At the same time, he is able to delay this push, though, which is really important. We had the orbital tech a little bit later for the 3rd command center. It's now in position, and he saturates 3 mineral lines. His economy is so much better. Yeah. But the problem, as you said, is he does not really have the vision that STC has with all the Vikings. But he has to scan. He has to save up a lot of energy on these 3 orbitals in order to get the scans in.
Well, right now the STC has 12 siege tanks against just one of his opponents. And, I mean, that plus air domination might be enough, but here we go. The Ghost King coming in. His units are very weak, but not a lot of buffering units exist for the STC.
Very well done by Ghost King with a nice time here, risking it a little bit, but it pays off. He's now up ahead with 40 supply, has 3 bases against 2, and this is just really bad for the STC at this point. He can't really engage here. He might use his Vikings in assault mode, trying to kill a bit of, well, maybe the tech, but this is just not easy to come back to.
Yeah,
that's
this is going to be really rough.
And here comes Ghost King.
Here he comes flanking. But the flank, very weak, dies off immediately, and suddenly the game going back into a winnable position for the STC. That flank, it was too quick. He should have waited. He had all those strengths just stuck. You don't have to attack into that.
Yeah, you don't have to, because you are already ahead. You can just get a... And he has units on the map who knows who can scout with third. There's no third, he has a third. Of course he loses a little bit of tech at the high ground, but still, he does not have to attack. You're so right.
Yeah, he should have just kept on holding off reinforcements and eventually crushed it with overwhelming forces, as opposed to something that's like, oh, maybe I can kill this. So right now, Ghost King still with a much better economy, still producing much better as well.
120 supply against 94 +2/+2 coming up for Ghost King also, but very much like a sensor tower. So smart to build one here.
And, well, the STC continues to push. He has a lot of siege tanks still. That army walking around, they're going to want to stop reinforcements once again. A very important thing to do against a 2-base mech push. And they might be gearing up for a flank as well.
Wow,
that definitely could be it.
Just as he is about to move in, there is also the bunker who gets, well, not salvaged, but all the units move out.
You know, one thing to point out is that his siege tanks are in range of that ramp. So any units trying to come down take a lot of damage. And there are no medevacs out because of those Vikings. So that is a big issue, but also 2-2 on the way. So his upgrades are going to look pretty stellar against someone with 0 upgrades.
He has the better army, has the better economy, but the problem is that his position is awful. He cannot attack into these tanks, and the STC is doing everything right. He's slowly moving forward, just making sure that he does not unsiege all of his tanks and is suddenly caught in a bad spot. So I love the decision-making by the STC. Ghost King is looking pretty strong here, but still, he needs to get an engagement going, and I don't know how he will be able to attack this army.
Well,
on the high ground, he could use the high ground and attack with a flank at the bottom.
I think that's probably going to be what his long-term plan is. He is making Raxes at his third base so that he actually has a place that can make units on the low ground, other than the couple Raxes at his natural. So that's going to help out. In the meantime, that third base being taken by the STC in his main command center.
And what is Ghost King doing? Bjorn is not moving out. He could just try to attack here a little bit, but as soon as he scouts this, he has to do something about it.
Another thing to mention is that if Bjorn loses that army in the center, then he's going to be in a world of pain.
Oh, yeah.
And he's going to have to stem and get out of there. A lot of damage being taken. Here he goes. He's going to try to break the main right now.
Moving in with a few SCVs in order to bait the damage. It takes down everything.
Just crushing the forces that were left there. And the STC has to be careful now, Keldor. I feel like he needs to pull back. He's still being a little bit aggressive, chasing down a little group of Marines and Marauders there. But this next group coming out is so frightening.
Position.
Yeah, he needs to be just completely turtled up to actually hold this. These upgrades 2-2, so strong.
There are no Vikings, which is obviously important, but if he stims in here and takes down the siege tanks and the expansion, then this game is basically checkmate. The siege tank dies, and all the other, well, the SCVs die as well. He has to force a lift off here.
Well,
80 supply behind.
Yeah, that's pretty rough. At this point, the production of Ghost King is going to be out of control. He's going to add in medevacs again as the Viking count has fallen. And Ghost King is in just a winning position here. For STC to come back would be an amazing feat. He doesn't have enough to cover his main, his natural, and his third. There's no way about it.
You know, we have High Harvest. There's, I don't know what I should say right now. It's actually, he's so far ahead. He's taking a fourth base. He knows that the SSC is not able to move out. He doesn't even have medivacs. There are 3 medivacs now for Bjorn. And he snipes tanks. He's just sniping tanks and, well,
with 2-2, man, he's just going to kill everything.
Exactly. There's nothing left anymore.
Yeah.
The third base is being attacked, and this is the last lifeline. This is the last thing that holds him in the game. GG's out as Bjorn takes game number 1, besides the first map in his favor.
You know, one thing we have to say is the STC, I think he thought he was way further behind than he was. That first pressure was really good by Ghost King, but I mean, he didn't have to all in on 2 base. He actually didn't. The supplies were very close. They both were just on 2 base. Even the SCV count was relatively close because Ghost King's was so late his extra command center. So, you know, the attack up helped out. It worked for a little bit, but he needed to pull back. You can't leave a ton of siege tanks out there forever. Because eventually they'll just get crushed. And then it's like, well, you lost 12 Siege Tanks. What do you want? And of course you're going to lose.
At this point, definitely really important for Beyond to what the next game map is going to be. And we have... Oh, I like it. We have Daybreak.
Daybreak, indeed. I would love to see the STC try another mech style here. He doesn't get really far behind the beginning like he did before. I could definitely see him taking that.
Daybreak is a map where I've seen a lot of weird stuff going on. You can go for Proxy Marauder, you can go for 14cc. We've even seen people proxy right next to the air position to the main base of their opponent, like their entire tech. So this is going to be very, very interesting, I feel. And they are evenly matched. Ghost King with a bit of a lead here, but still, STC is definitely in a shape where he can force a third game and decide Daybreak in his favor.
Yeah, and you're so right about all the weird stuff we've been seeing on Daybreak lately. TBT on this map is getting weirder and weirder and weirder. I've seen someone kill someone with Vikings on this map recently. I mean, it can be pretty crazy. There's just so many places to hide stuff. It's hard to scout it all, and people have been so greedy. Why not?
Yep, you can definitely go for it. Map number 2 coming up, guys. Daybreak. It's going to be it, and we will see the second game between Bjorn and his opponent, the STC. With GSL today with our coaches and